Behelits are highly spiritual stones that summon the god hand for the purposes of making a sacrifice. In this way, it links the physical realm with the deep layers of the astral realm. But the Behelit cannot simply be activated by command. It requires the owner of said Behelit to reach a moment of incredible pain and suffering. So in this way, it's useless to anyone else except for the owner. Well, that's what we originally thought. Skull Knight discovered a way to use the power of the Behelits by ingesting them into his body and forging them into a substance that coats the outside of his sword. Now in the manga they refer to it as the Sword of Actuation, but a better term is just the Behelit sword. Or if you want to be really technical, you can go with the Japanese name, the Yobimizu no Tsurugi. Now, this newly infused Behelit sword was thusly able to cut through the layers of the astral realm, making it capable of reaching strong apostles and members of the God Hand. It was also capable of tearing a large enough hole for all sorts of fantastical beasts to enter the realms of the physical world, creating the new age of Fantasia. But this is where we have to ask ourselves a very important question. How was the Skull Knight able to quote-unquote melt the Behelits within himself and use their power without activating them? For this, we need to understand the very nature of the physical and the astral realms. Now, when you think of the two realms, it's sort of natural to think of them as two separate entities. But contrary to this, I believe that they're rather intertwined. They're actually overlapping each other. There's very strong evidence to suggest that they're existing within the same space at the same time. Much like sheets of paper in a story, they occupy their own region, but at the same time, they're part of the same book. Let me put it like this. There are events going on within the physical and astral realms within the same space at the same time. Flora even tells a story that certain people can wander the shallow regions of the astral realm prior to them accepting their own demise. It even looks like the physical realm. But to most ordinary people, they can't see or perceive it. To other people who are more attuned to these spirits, they can perceive them as like physical objects. Now, mages take this a step further by separating themselves from their physical bodies to explore the deep and vast regions of said realm. To further hammer this point home, when Griffith's eclipse occurred, the remains of the Band of the Hawk were seen in that very lake, where everything began. Essentially, there is an invisible world that is completely beyond the perception of ordinary humans. But what happens in the astral realm has profound effects on the physical world. For example, when Guts received an astral wound from Slan, it took an immense toll on his physical body. So then, let's go back to the original question. How is Skull Knight able to melt the Behelits within himself and use them to coat the outside of his sword? Well, in the physical realm, Behelits look like stones. But in the astral realm, they look like droplets of liquid. In fact, when you translate the kanji for Behelit to English, it literally means prime droplets leading to the outer world. And when Griffith was going to the deep, deep layers of the astral realm to meet the idea of evil, what did he see? He saw the Behelits rising up to the surface, and they looked like little droplets of liquid. So while it looks like a stone in the physical realm, it's a droplet in the astral realm. So, the Skull Knight, being a being of the astral realm that can interact with the physical world, can use the Behelits in their original form. So in this way, when he's in the astral realm, he can use the Behelits that he ingested in the physical realm and use them as a liquid. So like the inside of his gut might just be like a liquid of Behelits. And when he sticks his sword in there, he's coating it with liquid. But when he brings it out to the astral realm, it solidifies. Now you might be asking yourself, well, this is cool and all, but how does it pertain to the story and how's it going to help Guts? Now, this sort of manipulation is important because it means that if Behelits can be reconfigured, so can apostles and members of the God Hand. I mean, to gain their demon form in the first place, they have to make a sacrifice and were thusly infused with the souls of their victims. The idea of evil even instructed Griffith to change the physical field that is his body into a shape that is suitable for his task. And what exactly did he do to accomplish this? A collection of souls that were swirling around his body. Now, this is not really too surprising to avid Berserk readers. We saw what happened to the Count and Wyald when they died in the throes of battle. An excess of souls left their body and returned to the deep realms of the astral world, back to the swirling abyss. Though the God Hand members seem like near all-powerful beings, we can surmise that their power has limitations and can thusly be taken away. They were, after all, humans at one point in time, and even Void admits that they are not gods. So if someone could figure out a way to remove the souls from their bodies, they would be nothing more than their feeble, physical selves once more. This may be the reason why Daiba and the Kushan sorcerers had Guts enter the stupa. Stupas reveal the outer and inner knowledge of the universe, as well as the nature of our mind and the path leading to the state of full development and enlightenment. It's also a symbol of the elements in which our Earth is composed of: earth, water, fire, air, and consciousness. This is particularly important because up until now, Guts has been quote-unquote using fire to fight with fire. More precisely, he's used the power of Behelits, i.e. the Berserker armor, to fight beings composed of them. Sure, it works when his level of Behelits are higher than his opponents, but he'll never have a chance at beating the God Hand with such power. I mean, their level of Behelits are off the charts. This is why he needs to abandon the notion of fighting darkness with darkness, and start using some other methods. Now, when Shirko was handing out the various fetishes to the Guts' party, they all assumed a weapon that reflected their personality. Serpico received the Sylph Sword that projected air, since he's a very quick and adroit person. Isidro received a Salamander Dagger, since he's a hothead and very ferocious. Guts, prior to receiving the Berserker armor, received an Axe of Gnomes, a sturdy weapon that accentuates his stoic demeanor. But he refused using it, saying that he wanted to use his Dragon Slayer instead. Now, I'm not saying that he needs to go back and grab that Axe of Gnomes. I'm not saying that whatsoever. But what I'm saying is that he needs to start relying on these natural powers rather than the powers of darkness. Perhaps he can make some sort of a pact with a powerful Earth Spirit that will lend him a hand in the crucial moment. Just as Shirka has done multiple times, i.e. the Water Angel in Enoch and the Great Flame Spirits in Vertanis Harbor. Now, Getfring introduced a very interesting notion, the idea of recruiting help from daemons. Basically, strong spirits that reside within the deep layers of the astral realm. Now, Mira drew our immediate attention to Flora, which undoubtedly will play a role in the future. But what if there were other spirits that were going to play pivotal roles? Spirits that were quite intertwined with Guts at one point in time, that being the members of the Band of the Hawk, and maybe even Godo. In Chapter 382, when we saw Guts enter the stupa, the Studio Gaga team teased the notion that he was accepting death. But perhaps it wasn't a literal death. Perhaps it's a figurative death that will allow him to commune with the deep layers of the astral realm. If he could learn the very secrets of the God Hand and receive assistance and motivation from his former allies, he might just have the tools needed to finally confront Griffith on equal footing. As we've talked about before, what we see in the physical realm is vastly different from how things appear in the astral realm. And the astral realm is like the inner workings of the physical world. That is how the idea of evil can control things. It's basically like the current, whereas the physical world is the ripples. Hence the reason that the God Hand members can read the flow of causality and they can see the future. But if Guts were able to go to the source and find his own allies and find his own deities that could help him out, then he could change that flow and he could change the future. And perhaps maybe he could even rob Griffith of his godly power. But anyway guys, that's all the thoughts I have for now. Thanks for listening and I'll catch you later.